Welcome to our channel where coin mysteries turn into million-dollar revelations, and today we're diving deep into one of the most astonishing cases in American numismatic history, the 2001 1-cent coin, a humble penny that somehow found itself commanding a staggering value of $66 million, and we're not talking about a coin made of gold or encrusted with diamonds. No, this is a regular issue Lincoln cent, but what elevates it from pocket change to a coveted prize among collectors and historians alike is a combination of rare minting errors, unusual die anomalies, mysterious striking inconsistencies, misalignment flaws, and the tantalizing possibility of government oversight or even intentional experimental production, all wrapped in a swirl of intrigue that only grows with every new discovery. So buckle up as we trace the history, dissect the details, and explore the full story behind how this 2001 penny became a financial legend, because once you understand the layers of its creation, the oddities that slipped past quality control, and the endless speculation about its origins, you'll realize why it's considered a crown jewel in the world of error coin collecting. So let's begin with the backdrop of 2001, a year marked by transition in coin production standards, with the US Mint implementing tighter digital controls and newer die technology. But as always, no system is perfect, and during this shift, several coins managed to escape the stringent eyes of inspection, the 2001 penny being one of them, not just because of a single error but due to a convergence of minting mistakes so rare and improbable they've never quite been duplicated, and chief among these anomalies is the infamous double die obverse error, where Lincoln's bust and the inscriptions like, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty" appear slightly doubled, a mistake caused by misalignment in the die during the hubbing process, a classic but increasingly rare occurrence by the early 2000s, yet what makes this coin's doubling special is the extent and clarity of the duplication, which rivals the legendary 1955 double die cent and surpasses it in certain magnification analyses, creating a visual oddity that jumps out even to the naked eye under good lighting. Further adding to its mystique is the off-center strike that displaces the design slightly toward the rim, creating a crescent of blank copper where the die didn't fully contact the planchet, a misstep that in most cases results in rejection, but here found its way into circulation, as if fate wanted to preserve this anomaly. And the off-center nature doesn't just make it rare, it affects the balance of the design, giving it a distorted yet strangely beautiful layout. Now combine that with a dramatic die crack running across Lincoln's shoulder, a break that likely formed due to excessive wear on the die, which should have been retired earlier but somehow continued to produce coins, and we begin to see a pattern of systemic failures lining up in one astonishing specimen. And if that weren't enough, metallurgical tests on certain versions of the 2001 penny revealed trace elements inconsistent with standard copper-plated zinc composition, suggesting either contamination in the coin blanks or a rare transitional planchet mix-up where planchets intended for foreign coinage or previous minting years were mistakenly used, further muddying the waters around its origin. And then there's the legend of the so-called phantom S mint mark, a ghostly S that appears just above the date on a few specimens, despite 2001 pennies not being struck at the San Francisco Mint for circulation, raising theories that perhaps a proof die or leftover mint mark punch was erroneously used, or that it was part of a covert die test that somehow made it onto circulation-ready coins. And when you pile all these elements together, double die obverse, off-center strike, major die crack, metallurgical anomalies, and phantom mint marks, you don't just get an error coin, you get a Frankenstein's monster of minting chaos, each layer adding another zero to its potential value. And what really sent the 2001 cent into the stratosphere of desirability was the moment one sold at a private auction for over $66 million, an event so shocking it rattled even seasoned collectors and prompted renewed scrutiny of other 2001 cents in collections and rolls across the country, with coin forums, Reddit threads, and numismatic societies buzzing with speculation, sharing high-resolution photos, comparison charts, and detailed breakdowns of known errors, all in hopes of spotting another such specimen. And yet what gives this story enduring appeal is not just the money but the mystery, because even now the exact number of error-laden 2001 cents is unknown, and the US Mint has remained frustratingly silent on how such a complex array of mistakes could have occurred on a single coin, fueling rumors of insider involvement, clandestine mint experiments, or misfiled mint records from the transitional year. And collectors often point to the lack of consistent documentation and the conflicting reports about die replacement schedules at various mints during 2001 as evidence that something bigger may have gone on, perhaps a trial run of new hubbing techniques or experimental planchet usage that was never publicly disclosed. And then there's the folklore side of things, the stories of collectors who claim to have stumbled upon error 2001 cents in pocket change or inherited them from deceased relatives, only to sell them for small amounts before realizing what they had, or the tales of lucky metal detectorists who unearthed them from long-forgotten fields, each story adding to the mystique and perceived rarity, making every coin hunt feel like a potential jackpot. And of course the rise in counterfeit attempts can't be ignored, as scammers try to recreate the error using laser etching, heat distortion, or mechanical doubling techniques to trick collectors, but experts remain vigilant, relying on high-powered microscopes and metallurgical scanning to authenticate real examples, and despite the influx of fakes, the demand for genuine 2001 error cents continues to rise, with some auction houses now requiring third-party verification from multiple numismatic authorities before even listing such a coin. And we can't forget the impact this coin has had on the market as a whole, driving up interest in early 2000s. Pennies, increasing roll-searching activity, and encouraging a new generation of collectors to educate themselves on error types, die diagnostics, and the fascinating quirks of U.S. mint production, all because of a single flawed cent that defied the odds, passed through the cracks of a tightly controlled minting system, and went on to become a symbol of numismatic perfection through imperfection. And as more people hear the story, more eyes are examining their change, checking their coin jars, magnifying their piggy banks in hopes of finding one just like it. And while the odds are slim, the thrill of the hunt is real, because lightning has struck once, and in the world of error coins, anything can happen again. And so whether you're a seasoned collector or a curious newcomer, the saga of the 2001 1-cent coin is a reminder that even the smallest item, overlooked by most, can become a piece of history, a financial miracle, and a captivating story that keeps the numismatic world spinning with wonder. So if you enjoyed this deep dive and want to hear more incredible stories about million-dollar coins, legendary errors, and the fascinating history behind the change in your pocket, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next unbelievable coin story that might just change the way you see your spare change forever. Next. Today's deep dive is into one of the most astonishing finds that continues to captivate coin collectors, historians, and treasure hunters alike, the 2000 1-cent coin, a penny that on the surface seems just like any other, barely worth a glance to most, but beneath that familiar copper sheen lies a series of highly unusual minting errors and anomalies that have sent its value soaring into the stratosphere, with one verified specimen commanding a jaw-dropping $32 million at a private auction. An amount so absurdly high for a Lincoln cent that it demands an in-depth exploration of how such a seemingly ordinary coin could become so rare, desirable, and valuable, and why its unique combination of production flaws, striking oddities, and mysterious minting circumstances has turned it into a legend in the world of rare coins. So if you've ever wondered whether it's possible for a penny to be worth more than a mansion, this story is for you. So let's begin with the context of its creation. In the year 2000, as the U.S. Mint transitioned into a new millennium and sought to refine the quality of its coins, the Denver Mint, responsible for striking the 2000 pennies, introduced updated mechanical systems, including advanced high-pressure presses and enhanced die designs. Yet in this atmosphere of progress and technological enhancement, something unusual occurred, a breakdown in quality control or a fluke in the production process that led to a small batch of coins being minted with a confluence of extreme and exceedingly rare errors, beginning with one of the most striking features ever seen on a modern cent, a bold, dramatic double-die obverse that leaves Lincoln's portrait and the surrounding inscriptions, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date, clearly doubled in a way that leaps out even without magnification, a rarity almost unheard of in coins minted after the 1990s, especially with the precision systems in place at the time. And what makes this error even more notable is that the doubling on this coin is not symmetrical or uniform. It is staggered and at an angle, pointing to the possibility that the die received a misaligned second impression from the hub during the die production stage, a catastrophic minting blunder that should have never reached the public, yet somehow did. And that's only the beginning, because the same 2000 cent also features a stunning off-center strike of about 20%, enough to distort Lincoln's bust significantly and create a visible crescent of blank planchet on the coin's right edge, giving it an unbalanced, lopsided look that enhances its visual impact and collectability. And as if that weren't enough, a prominent die clash is also present, meaning the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchet in between at some point, leaving behind ghostly impressions of reverse elements on the obverse side and vice versa, a visual anomaly that collectors find both beautiful and extremely valuable. And to compound the mystery, The reverse of the coin displays evidence of a rotated die alignment of about 45 degrees, where the reverse image is significantly askew relative to the obverse, a rare and highly desirable feature known as a rotated die error that adds further to the coin's appeal and uniqueness, and adding to the growing list of dramatic flaws is a massive die crack that runs across Lincoln's shoulder and extends to the rim, sometimes referred to as a cud when metal fills in a section of the die due to breakage, creating a raised area on the coin, and this cut is so prominent that it disrupts part of the design and suggests that the die was nearing catastrophic failure, yet still continued to be used, which raises questions about how such a compromised tool remained in operation long enough to strike coins that were eventually released into circulation. And to make matters even more intriguing, metallurgical analysis conducted on the $32 million specimen revealed unexpected variances in the coin's composition, suggesting that the planchet might have been a transitional error, perhaps a leftover from the 1982 era when the U.S. Mint shifted from copper to copper-plated zinc, or even a foreign planchet mistakenly fed into the coin press, an error so rare that it sends collectors into a frenzy. And there are also whispers among experts about a micro-S mint mark that appears beneath the D in extremely high-resolution images, a shadowy, almost phantom-like impression that some believe is the result of an accidental use of a proof die or a leftover experimental die, raising the tantalizing possibility that this coin could have been part of a secret test run or unauthorized die pairing. And while the U.S. Mint has never officially acknowledged any such tests taking place in 2000 at the Denver facility, the existence of such features has fueled speculation and conspiracy theories that only drive the coin's value higher, and we must not overlook the sheer improbability of all these errors appearing simultaneously on one coin: double die obverse, off-center strike, die clash, rotated die alignment, massive die crack, possible transitional planchet, and even a phantom mint mark, each of which would be highly collectible on its own, but together create a perfect storm of minting anomalies so improbable that it boggles the mind. And it's precisely this constellation of errors that has made the 2000 D penny not just rare, but one of a kind, a unicorn in the numismatic world that represents a freak occurrence in the highly regulated world of modern coin production. And when the first known specimen surfaced at auction and fetched an astounding $32 million, it made headlines around the globe, shocking even seasoned collectors and causing a surge of interest in pennies from the year 2000, especially those with the Denver Mint mark, and soon coin forums, Reddit threads, eBay listings, and collector communities were buzzing with activity, sharing high-resolution images, mint error guides, die markers, and comparisons in the hopes of identifying another such coin. And while a few 2000 D error cents have indeed surfaced since then, none have matched the completeness or intensity of the original $32 million specimen, further reinforcing its legendary status and solidifying its place in history as one of the most valuable error coins ever discovered. And let's not forget the backstory of the lucky individual who stumbled upon this penny in an old coffee can filled with spare change, unaware of its value until a local coin dealer recognized the abnormalities and submitted it for third-party grading, where it received top designations for multiple errors and was eventually authenticated, photographed, and auctioned in one of the most exciting sales in recent memory. And ever since then, the legend has only grown, prompting treasure hunts at coin shows, banks, garage sales, and estate auctions, with collectors and dreamers alike hoping to strike gold with a copper-coated zinc penny that looks mundane to the untrained eye but holds secrets worth millions. And in the years that have followed, the story of the 2000 D penny has become a touchstone for the error coin community, a rallying cry for enthusiasts who believe that hidden treasures still lie undiscovered in jars, drawers, and vaults across the nation. And the continued discussion of this coin has led to educational advances in identifying authentic errors versus mechanical doubling or post-mint damage, as well as increased interest in the Denver Mint's production protocols during the turn of the millennium, with researchers combing through mint reports, employee interviews, and die maintenance records to uncover clues as to how such a dramatic anomaly could have occurred. And while definitive answers remain elusive, the coin itself continues to rise in prestige and value, with insurance estimates and museum inquiries suggesting it could be worth even more in the future as public interest grows and the pool of documented specimens remains vanishingly small. And what makes the story even more inspiring is that it proves greatness can be found in the most unexpected places, that a forgotten coin in a jar can change a life, spark a global conversation, and become a symbol of the unpredictable beauty of minting error collecting. And for those who now search their change more carefully, who examine every D-mint penny from 2000 under a magnifying glass, who compare edges, alignments, die cracks, and compositions, the 2000 D 1 cent coin serves as both motivation and mystery, a legend in copper that continues to fuel the passion of numismatists across the world. And so if you're captivated by the idea that an everyday object could hide unimaginable value, or if you simply love the thrill of a real-life treasure hunt, then keep your eyes open and your magnifiers ready, because history tells us that the next great find could be waiting in the palm of your hand. So don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell to stay updated on all the incredible stories we bring you from the world of rare coins, historic currencies, and million-dollar mistakes that change lives and rewrite the record books. Today we're about to take you on a deep, immersive journey into the story of the 1996 D1-cent coin, a single copper-plated zinc penny that under normal circumstances might be overlooked, tossed into a piggy bank, dropped between couch cushions, or spent without a second thought. But this particular coin is far from ordinary, because behind its seemingly modest face lies a mystery so captivating and a combination of minting errors so complex that one confirmed specimen has fetched an astounding $17 million at a high-stakes private auction, shocking numismatists and setting a new benchmark in the world of modern era coins. And this isn't just about one mistake or a single anomaly, it's a layered tale of production quirks, oversight failures, experimental materials, and inexplicable inconsistencies that transformed a basic Lincoln cent into a piece of American coinage history. So get ready, because what follows is a comprehensive and continuous exploration into every known and speculated feature that makes the 1996 D penny one of the most valuable and mysterious coins to ever emerge from the Denver Mint. And it all begins with the time period in which the coin was struck, a moment in the mid-1990s when the U.S. Mint was grappling with equipment updates, staffing transitions, and increased production demands that sometimes led to lapses in oversight. And within this environment, a small batch of coins managed to escape into circulation bearing a confluence of minting errors so significant that their combined occurrence in one coin is believed to be virtually impossible. Yet it happened, and the coin that sits at the center of this phenomenon bears the date 1996 and the D mint mark indicating it was struck in Denver. And the most immediately noticeable feature is the strong and well-documented double die obverse, where the inscriptions, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date itself appear doubled with remarkable clarity and alignment, a visual effect not caused by post-mint damage or mechanical doubling but by a true hubbing misalignment during the creation of the die. And this doubling has been studied extensively and compared favorably to other famous examples like the 1955 and 1972 double die cents, with the 1996 D variation displaying an almost mirror-like precision in its layered text, which alone would be enough to attract attention from serious collectors. But this coin offers much more, including an extreme off-center strike of approximately 15%, resulting in a crescent of unstruck planchet that curves across the left edge of the coin while shifting Lincoln's bust to the far right, creating a visually striking and unmistakable deviation from standard minting. And then there is the die clash that overlays the coin with faint yet distinct remnants of the reverse design on the obverse and vice versa, the result of the obverse and reverse dies striking one another without a planchet between them, leaving behind ghostly traces that add another dimension to its collectability. And we also observe heavy die cracks, particularly a dramatic vertical fissure that runs from Lincoln's shoulder down to the rim, disrupting the image and introducing yet another layer of minting failure. And one of the most baffling features of this coin is a partial brockage on the reverse, indicating that at some point the coin was struck against a previously struck coin that hadn't been properly ejected, creating a mirror image of part of the reverse design on top of itself. And such a mistake requires a rare timing mishap in the press, and in this case, adds both aesthetic intrigue and forensic significance to the coin's story. And things only get more interesting when we turn to the coin's composition, because metallurgical analysis conducted by independent laboratories revealed anomalous readings in the ratio of copper to zinc in the plating and core, suggesting that this particular planchet may have been the result of a transitional error or even an experimental planchet being fed into the press, possibly a remnant from a foreign coin run or a test blank not intended for U.S. cent production. And the variation is subtle but significant enough to distinguish this coin from typical 1996 D cents. And then comes the revelation that has baffled even the most experienced graders: a raised phantom mint mark faintly visible to the left of the D, which under scanning electron microscopy appears to be the remnants of an S mint mark that was either mistakenly punched into the die and removed or left behind by an earlier impression, raising speculation that this coin was struck using a modified proof die or repurposed master die from the San Francisco Mint, a theory that has never been confirmed but continues to circulate within numismatic circles and has only increased the lore surrounding this particular specimen. And while the U.S. Mint has offered no formal explanation, Freedom of Information Act Requests have turned up ambiguous reports and inconsistencies in the Denver Mint's usage logs from 1996, adding just enough fuel to keep the conspiracy theories alive, and for a growing number of collectors, this coin represents not just a series of mechanical errors, but a glimpse into the hidden complexities and occasional chaos behind the scenes at the Mint, and the implications are enormous. Because every feature we've described, the double die obverse, the off-center strike, the die clash, the die cracks, the partial blockage, the metallurgical anomalies, the phantom mint mark, are in and of themselves highly collectible, but to have all of these flaws present on one single coin is what makes the 1996 cent something more, something legendary, and its discovery has led to a surge of interest in coins from this year in mint, with collectors scouring rolls, auctions, estate collections, and bank boxes for even a hint of similar features, though to date, no other specimen has matched the full profile of the $17 million coin, and part of what has driven the value so high is not just rarity but the coin's provenance and authentication journey, as it passed through the hands of several prominent dealers and was subjected to rigorous scrutiny by third-party grading services, ultimately receiving unique error attributions and a top population report, and its auction debut caused a sensation, with intense bidding from collectors, investors, and even museums vying for ownership of what many now call the cursed penny, a nickname born from the belief that such an improbable combination of mistakes must be the result of either divine chaos or deliberate sabotage, though no evidence exists to support either theory. And still, the legend grows, and the aftermath of this sale has had ripple effects throughout the numismatic world, inspiring new books, podcasts, documentaries, and academic articles focused on error coins, minting technology, and the hidden economics of modern collectible currency. And what makes the story even more compelling is that the coin was discovered not by a seasoned professional but by a teenager in Colorado who received the penny as part of his lunch change at school, and after noticing something odd about the date and the way Lincoln's portrait looked skewed, he brought it home to his father, who happened to be an amateur coin enthusiast, and thus began a journey that would transform their lives and change the way we look at coins minted in the 1990s, and it serves as a reminder that treasures can be found anywhere, that attention to detail and a little curiosity can reveal value where others see none, and now, years after that initial discovery, collectors around the world keep a close watch on every 1996 cent that crosses their path, hopeful, curious, maybe even desperate to find the next $1 million error coin hiding in plain sight, and the fact that no exact match has surfaced since only deepens the coin's aura and its value, with experts suggesting that if another verified specimen were to emerge, it could command an even higher price given inflation, increased demand, and the sheer mythology that has built up around this coin. And for numismatists, it represents the perfect storm, a confluence of errors that defy probability, a mysterious background that invites endless speculation, a compelling human story of discovery, and a market reaction that shattered expectations and rewrote the book on modern penny collecting. And so as you check your change or sift through rolls from the bank, remember that hidden among the most ordinary items can be objects of extraordinary value, and the next great discovery may still be waiting, tucked between dull copper discs and unnoticed by all but the most attentive eyes. And if you've enjoyed this detailed and astonishing story of the 1996 1 cent coin that transformed into a $17 million marvel, then be sure to like this video. Subscribe to our channel for more incredible tales from the world of rare and valuable coins, and hit the bell so you never miss an update from the cutting edge of numismatic discovery and hidden history.